What if, instead of chasing after big changes, you focused on being just 1% better every day? This concept may seem too easy to be true, but that's precisely the power of James Clear's Atomic Habits book and the 1% improvement rule. This is the tale. Brian was an average guy with big dreams, but like many, he found himself stuck in a cycle of procrastination and self-doubt. He had a stable job, a comfortable apartment, and a close circle of friends, but something was missing. Every new year, Brian would make grand resolutions, lose 30 pounds, run a marathon, or finally start that side business he'd been talking about for years. Yet by February, his motivation would wane, and he'd fall back into his old routines. He felt trapped, constantly yearning for change, but never quite reaching it. One day, while browsing at his local bookstore, Brian stumbled upon a book titled Atomic Habits by James Clear. Intrigued by the promise of transforming habits through small changes, he bought it and dove in that same evening. As he read, one concept stood out: the 1% improvement rule. The idea was simple yet profound. If you get 1% better every day, the compounding effect would make you nearly 37 times better after a year. Brian was skeptical at first. How could something so small make a difference? But he was tired of his grand plans fizzling out, so he decided to give it a try. He made a list of areas in his life he wanted to improve: his health, productivity, and personal growth. Instead of setting lofty goals, he asked himself, what's one tiny thing I can do today to get better by just 1%? For his health, he started by drinking one extra glass of water a day. It was easy, something he could do without much effort. The next day, he added a 5-minute stretch in the morning. Then, he swapped his afternoon snack for a piece of fruit. None of these changes felt monumental, but they were manageable. Over time, these small actions began to compound. He didn't become a fitness fanatic overnight, but within a few months, he noticed his energy levels rising, and he had lost a few pounds without even really trying. In his work, Brian applied the same principle. Instead of aiming to overhaul his entire productivity system, he started with just 5 minutes of focused work without distractions. It wasn't long before 5 minutes turned into 10, then 15, and soon he found himself completing tasks that had been on his to-do list for months. He was getting more done in less time, all because he focused on being just 1% more productive each day. The real magic happened in his personal growth. Brian had always wanted to learn a new language, but had never managed to stick with it. He decided to start with just one new word a day in Spanish. One word was easy, so he rarely missed a day. And because it was easy, it often led to him spending more time practicing. By the end of the year, he was conversing comfortably in Spanish, something that had seemed impossible just a year before. The 1% improvement rule didn't just change Brian's habits, it changed his mindset. He no longer felt overwhelmed by the size of his goals. Instead, he embraced the power of tiny gains, knowing that every small step forward was progress. By focusing on being 1% better each day, Brian had transformed his life in ways he never thought possible. He became a testament to the power of incremental improvement, a living, breathing example that tiny changes, when compounded over time, could lead to extraordinary results. Brian learned that greatness isn't achieved in one grand gesture, but in the hundreds of small, seemingly insignificant decisions we make every day. His story spread among his friends and colleagues, inspiring others to embrace the philosophy of small gains. And Brian? He kept his eye on the prize, knowing that all he needed was just 1% more effort today than yesterday. Brian's journey teaches us a powerful lesson. Change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's not about taking massive leaps all at once, but about making small, consistent improvements every day. The 1% improvement rule reminds us that progress is built on tiny gains that compound over time, leading to significant, life-altering results. No matter how daunting your goals might seem, remember that by committing to just 1% better each day, you can achieve remarkable things. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how those little steps lead to big transformations.